Hey guys, Ted from Nerdarchy here. 4 Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with the full crew.
Ryan.
Dave.
Nate.
And today we got another GM 911. This is brought to us by Nacho Bears, and he's running a 3.5 game. And he's got a Dread Necromancer with a super bluff score, and he's wound up bluffing his way through all of his evil deeds and getting away with everything scot-free.
They did use an example, and this one was actually really good.
Yeah.
They get caught murdering a paladin,
And he's got an accomplice. There's a necromancer and a rogue.
Yeah,
Right.
And they get murdered. They get caught by townsfolk murdering a paladin, but they plant a scroll of control undead on the paladin,
Thus blaming him for all of the evil that they've been doing over the past week.
So, one of the I guess at the crux of it, Nacho Bear wants to know how does he make their actions have consequences?
Right.
So the party's level 6. I don't know the scope of his world, but it's always possible to say, well, the authorities have the ability to be higher. There's always people who are going to be keen investigators. What's this paladin that they killed, his background? Is there someone that's like, well, I'm totally, I would put my life on the line and say that this is not something that this guy would actually do.
So I don't know if they're playing Pathfinder. It could be Pathfinder.
They're playing 3.5.
Pathfinder is basically 3.5.
Okay.
So there's a class called an Inquisitor, which they're basically holy investigators. Put a high level 10 Inquisitors got the capabilities to start deducing some of what's going on. They will start to figure out, unravel. They have things that basically will cut through bluff checks because they can kind of get access to things like True Sight and this and that.
Speak with dead.
Speak with dead, so he could literally talk to this fallen paladin. Get an Inquisitor on their trail. This thing, or a small party of them, and they could be dogging their footsteps for a while. It's one idea.
You don't even have to make it like you can. It doesn't have to be like, oh, the Inquisitor shows up. Well, his mentor shows up, who is a Holy Inquisitor.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I know
all
him
this
personally.
bad stuff. I
know
trained him.
personally.
They would not have this.
Right.
Yeah.
The church looks into it. Where'd that scroll of where did this scroll of control undead go? Did the party keep it? Or is it, or like the constables should have been like, well, no, that has to stay. That's evidence. And they lose the scroll, and 2, then again, like it's going to be investigated. The order of that church is going to investigate this paladin. Either A, they don't believe it's possible that the paladin was turned, or B, they want to defend their order.
They want to either exonerate him or damn him and expel him from the order. And even after death, they need to know.
And speak with dead, like most high-level priests are going to have access to that.
It's not even a high-level spell.
Yeah.
You need to be a 5th level cleric. I mean, my cleric in Dave's game, who's 5th level, has it.
Yeah. So here's the thing too, and like skill checks and rolling dice is not the end all to be all, because if something just doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. I don't care how fucking high you roll it. Sometimes you just have to apply the rule of common sense.
Well, or like the negative is so high, like if you're gonna go by the die roll, like, oh, well, that's like a negative 20 circumstance modifier because that's fucking bullshit. It would never happen. Or let's go negative 30 because if you're trying to tell someone the sky is red when it's blue, like that's a bluff check you're never going to make.
Yeah, you're not going to convince them that the sky that does blue their entire life is actually red. They've misinterpret it, and people have been lying to them their whole life.
And
it's just not going to happen.
Here's the thing with bluff and deception type skills is, yes, even if you may get away with it in the moment, but then there's the aftermath when the pieces don't add up. When people have time to examine everything as a whole, they're going to see that there's an inconsistency and they don't know what it is. If this is important enough, people will start trying to figure out what that inconsistency is. Eventually there will be clues to point to
the party,
your bluff checks.
If all of the pieces are these weird things where this person has said, well, oh, no, that clearly wasn't me, or, I didn't do that, or, he wasn't over there, or, he did this ridiculously horrible thing. All of those things are threads linked to that character who is doing nothing but lying. There's no way, if it's him getting away with stuff because he's lying, all of those things are linked to him. All the clues are linked to him. It's going to go right to that guy.
And every single person they've ever screwed over is going to come looking for them.
Yep.
And that's what because like eventually people will figure it out, right? You know, you could have like you could even have like investigative journalists, like if you wanted, like people that go around like basically reporting in your world or whatever, and like help trying to uncover the rumors and put together the truth. Like an order of bards, that's what they do. You know, that would be another way to go with it.
Yep.
Yeah, and they actually do have that equivalent in Eberron. I don't remember what it's called.
Chroniclers, I believe.
Yeah. So there's definitely instances of that, but again, bounty hunters trying to fit, eventually will start showing up. As
Anybody who's good and competent at doing their job in the world, and would have an interest in uncovering it. Because remember, your players aren't the most powerful beings in your world, and you were going to have some that had a vested interest in unraveling the web of lies that they've woven.
Right.
And another thing with bluff check, I feel like it's a lot more instant. Bluff check and deception type skill is more of like just in the moment. Like, oh, I'm trying to get out of this palace. Oh, I'm dressed in commoner clothes. Well, these are my pages. Someone spilled wine all over them, and I refuse to go outside, in wine-covered clothing. I'll look like some kind of, lecherous fool or something. So you'd rather look like a page and leave the premises, even though, page is, higher up for his garb, because he's not actually a noble. He was a spy in there, and he's trying to get out. So that works for right then. But later when people say, oh, did the guy go this way? Oh, yeah, it was a guy, he spilt wine on it. He got wine spilled on his thing. The story sounds ridiculous when you're not the guy getting bluffed.
Yeah, because everybody else is going to sit around and, start comparing notes.
Yeah, and he's going to get tongue lashed by his superior, and, you shouldn't have let that guy out. We're looking for a spy here.
Yeah, so exactly. Nate, you just brought up exactly what I was thinking is you have to remember, and I think this DM is kind of thinking like that, and that's fine. But you have to remember, it's those moments aren't frozen in time. Mm-hmm. They happen, and it made sense at the time because of the player's ability to deceive them. But afterwards, people will start to think, it's if you've ever been conned before,
they don't stick around. They GTFO. They want to get out of Dodge after they successfully run their con, because when people start to deduce and hash out what actually happened,
and they're not in the presence of your charisma and your good acting skills on being very believable as a nice guy.
Well, I mean, what was the Eddie Murphy movies where he was that smooth talking cop in the 80s? Beverly Hills Cops. Beverly Hills Cops. His character was only doing his little cons to get into where he needed to for the moment. He didn't stick around to see what was going to happen. People didn't really have access to who he was, and he didn't give them a real name. So anybody who actually knows who these characters are and got conned by them, again, repercussions.
Yeah, you're trying to bluff the same person twice. It's going to get more difficult and more difficult, especially if there was bad consequences that happened the last time to this person. Right. They're going to be on guard and they're going to be more leery, and it could actually get to the point where they will just never believe anything you say, even if you're telling the truth.
Right. And whoever said, "Oh, this paladin must have did all this stuff." Well, there's those two peasants that actually saw what happened. And yes, a peasant's voice against nobility saying, well, whether or not I should punish this person, or whether or not I should punish the dead paladin, saying oh, this guy was wrong because all the evidence points to him. Well, he's going to ignore the peasants, but the peasantry is not going to ignore the peasants. Right. Yeah. They're going to spread that all around, and you're
except
for
you
guys are scum.
I think what the gist of that story is that the two player characters spun things to the peasants that this is how.
Yeah, and they planned it.
They were defeating him.
Yeah, this paladin was a menace to society, and we put him down. So.
Right, but that doesn't mean
somebody smarter is going to look into it.
Yeah. And another thing, I won't pass the smell test later, a scroll of undead control. Well, who told you it was a scroll of undead control? Well, the guys that killed the paladin, that was evil. Do you even know what that is? Yeah. Doesn't it control undead? Well, yeah. Did you read it?
Could he cast that kind of magic?
Yeah, someone who knows something is going to say that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's not going to pass the smell test the next day for half the people involved.
So has something like this happened in your game? If you have any
Wait, quick! I just had some. I just got some inspiration. Bring that paladin back as a revenant. Have him haunt the party, like a holy revenant.
Ooh,
yeah.
Well,
that'd be pretty badass. Basically make a risen version of the revenant. Smite the crap out of them. Just a thought.
I like that.
Yeah. So if you, like I said, if you got some ideas that you want to help Nacho Bears out with, put it in the comments below. While you're at it, share, subscribe. You know the deal.
You can tweet us at Twitter.
Down below in the description itself at the very top there, you will see a link to Nerdarchy, the newsletter. Stay up to date with Nerdarchy there.
And you can also check out that newsletter and other articles over at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay
Stay nerdy.
nerdy.